Hello YouTubes, welcome to the final part of my vintage compressor restoration series. Got a lot to do today. I want to get that painted, I want to get that sanded down and painted, I want to get that bolted to the top of that, I want to get that bolted to the floor. Lots to do, so I'm going to save a bit of time and get this sanded down, and I'll see you in a minute. Okay, I didn't go too mental. I'm not trying to win the Riddler's Award for the shiniest compressor, but I did have to remove all the surface rust and make sure that everything underneath was nice and not cracked and all that kind of stuff. So there was a bit of surface rust. I know it looks like I've gone like way down to middle of the metal, but no, I only used a soft grinding pad, not non-metallic. So I had the sticker there, didn't like the sticker, so I peeled that off, but that was full of goop, so I had to get rid of that. And then we had the surface rust just running down there and underneath. But under the rust was still solid metal, so I'm happy to continue. Wiped the whole thing down with thinners. The backside was actually fine. So I guess it had, maybe it was sitting near a door or something, and the front just got a bit damp. But I checked all the seams, we're all good. Right, before I can do any painting, I need to move this over to this corner, mark some holes, drill some holes, and put the mounts in. I'll show you what I've got in the way of mounts for it. Lots of suggestions for using hockey pucks, but that's a lot of work. I just decided to go with these, which are pretty much just engine mounts. So you get a big rubber chunk between two metal plates. So that will get bolted to the floor, and that will go up through one of the holes down there. These things were only like $5 each, so $20 for nice solid, well not solid, rubber floor mounts. I'm happy with that. Right, let me get shuggling and marking and drilling, and I'll see you in a minute. Mounts are now mounted to the floor, and they are in the perfect place. Time to get some paint on this beast. I'm going to start at the bottom, so I will kind of flip it upside down. Not completely upside down, but have the bottom pointing up. Bottoms up, people. Here's a bit of irony for you. Painting a compressor with spray cans because I don't have a compressor to paint my compressor. Right, let me show you what colours we're going with. For the air tank, we're going with shiny black. For the compressor, I'm going to keep it kind of similar. I'm going to use this stuff for this section and this section, but not that section, because that's going to get the hottest. For the top section, I'm going to use this high temperature matte black paint just for this very top section and these big nuts. That's the plan. And for the motor, I'm just going to give that a bit of a clean. I don't really want to be putting paint near the motor. I mean, that's just black plastic anyway. Right, let's get painting. Are you ready for some high-speed painting? I'm going to try and get all this done before the music stops. Ready, go! I think that looks pretty good. 2 coats on, no point putting a third coat on. That coverage is really good with that paint. Probably wondering why I've not painted these corners. I'm going to be grabbing it there when I sugar it into place. See, thinking ahead. So I'll wait for a wee bit longer for it to dry, and then I'll try and get it on its mounts, and hopefully, I mean, it will definitely line up perfectly. Find out soon. Perfect, as expected. Okay, I'll admit it, I totally fluked that. But it is perfect. So that is my compressor's new home. I suppose I better paint these bits now. Didn't want to ruin my perfect paint job. Okay, it's far from perfect, but it looks pretty good. I will be adding one little je ne sais quoi item when I'm done. But for now, let me finish painting that. All painted, nice and shiny. Compressor painted. I quite like this two-tone thing. It's a sort of matte black industrial look. I think it contrasts quite nicely. Still got my motor to clean up. So while I'm waiting for all that to dry, let me show you all the bits I need to add on. So we've got a lot of parts still to reassemble. This was the main pipe coming out of the compressor into the tank with a big rubber hose. I don't need to use all of that. That was designed for the compressor working away from the tank, but I'm going to have it sitting on top, obviously. And then we've got the pipe coming out with the on-off switch. Very nice used regulator. Hopefully it will work just fine. The filter looks perfectly clean. And also, combination regulator and lubricator setup. But I'm not going to install that just now because I do have plans to make a sort of mounting bracket, which I'll show you in a minute. Well, I won't show you, I'll show you what I'm planning in my head. So now I need to figure out how I'm going to get the compressor on top of the tank. It's very heavy and I've got a dodgy back. I do have a plan, let me show you. Yes, I know this looks a bit extreme, but hey, work smart, not hard. If you've got the tools, use them. And this goes plenty high enough to hang that compressor, drop it on its platform. Let's do that then. Here goes then. Hope this doesn't end up in tears. Let's move it over there. Helps if I raise it up a bit. I've chipped my lovely paint. Okay, this time I've got the bolts in first. No excuse for it not going in now. Perfection. Oh, scared the you know what out of me there. Right, let me move this out of the way. Looking rather fabulous, I think. It's very lopsided weight-wise, so I need to get that motor on as soon as possible. I don't like that much weight. I don't want it pulling the anchors out of the floor. Overall, so far, I think it looks rather nice. Okay, let me explain what I was talking about earlier with the mounting bracket thingy. The air outlet for the regulator is down there, and there'll be a couple of pipes coming up and round, and this will probably sit about there. Now that's fine if I've just got one regulator, but I'm going to be plumbing in the other regulator as well. You know, one for painting and one for tools. You're starting to add quite a lot of weight onto the pipes. Now normally you would mount these on a wall, but all my walls are too far away, if you know what I mean. I've got lots of stuff in front of all my walls. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to build a sort of cage. This'll do two jobs. A sort of cage coming round. That will hold the compressor over there and it's not going to fall anywhere. But also I can add all my regulators to the cage. I either make it out of wood or a bit more elaborate, make it out of steel, bolt it to the wall, leg down to the floor, also bolted to the floor, and then we're all good. So that's the plan. Okay, what's next? I need to clean up the motor and then get the motor on and get the belt on, get the wiring done, all the pipes on. A lot still to do, but I'm going for dinner. I'll see you in a bit. Actually, I'll see you tomorrow, but it will be the same video. You know what I mean. See you in a minute. Motor's all cleaned. I threw on some paint as well. I've also stripped off this metal conduit so that I've got some wire to wire it up to the compressor. So let's get that on top of the tank and bolted down. Moment of truth. If I made my template accurately for the bolt holes. I think so. Let's grab some bolts and find out. One, two. I should have waited for the paint to dry, right? Ah. Patience is a luxury I can't afford. Let me get a bigger bolt. Okay, they all fit. So, now we need to see if the belts fit. Ugh. Belts are very stiff at the moment. Right, I'm going to have to take the bolts out for now, slide the whole thing forward, and then move the unit back. I mean, there's a certain amount of adjustment on the bracket, but not when the belts are this new and stiff. Lovely. Okay, let me mess about with this, and I'll bring you back when it's all nice and tight and secure. Right, this is giving me grief trying to tighten it. Tighten the belts. There's nothing on the bracket that allows me to lever the unit this way to tighten the belts, which is rather annoying. I need to come up with something special. But not tonight. I've had enough. See you in the morning. Good morning. Right, I've devised a plan to get this motor taut, or the belts taut. Let me show you. I have handcrafted a very specific tool. That bit of wood goes there, and this specifically cut to shape bit of wood will go there, angled at that side. It'll push that side that way if I hammer it down. At least that's the theory. So I'm going to tap it down a little bit just now, and then loosen these bolts, and then tap it some more and try and get these belts a bit tighter. That'll do. Tighten these bolts and we're done with that part of the job. Next, I have to attach all the air pipes, hoses and regulators. Make sure I'll be using plenty of that. See you in a minute. Pipe work is done. Comes out there, goes up there, goes along there, into that. And that's where I plug in my line. My big shut-off valve there. That's in the on position. Up the top, big giant pipe coming out, goes to a rubber hose, goes round and round and round, and in here and along here. I will be replacing this at some point. This is a 500 PSI hose, so I'm using it for now because that stuff's expensive. But all it really has to do is get from this point to that point there. I could even just do away with this T-junction, but I'm leaving it for now because I've got it. Right, final stage then. Get that wire into there and get the main power feed also into there. And then we'll be ready to switch it on. We're all wired up. Kind of nervous. I don't know if this pressure switch actually works. I know the motor works, I know the compressor works, but I've never had it all wired up together. Only one way to find out, right? Actually, before I switch it on, I'm just going to add a strap around there and attach it to the wall. I'm just a bit paranoid this whole thing falls over. It's very top heavy. Right, I'll do that and then we'll go for the big switch on, or the big turn on. Ooh. Okay. Little baby ratchet strap there, that should hold it for now, till I get the proper frame built that I want. Right, enough beating about the bush, let's go for it. It was making a wee bit of a knocking noise there. It's gone away now. Need to check the oil. Also, not going to take the pressure up too much just now. I'll switch off in a minute and make sure we don't have leaks. We have a leak. That was weird. Coming out the bottom of the filter. I think the way those filters work is with more pressure, it actually seals it. Okay, let's try more pressure and check the oil. Oil's fine. I'm just going to take the pressure up in stages because I'm still not 100% sure on this tank. Don't know the history. I was assured it was fine and it didn't leak. But I'm going to plug in my tyre inflator just to make sure the line is all good. I'll also need to learn which tools require what pressure. That seals nice. Tyre inflator. This doesn't need a lot of pressure compared to like a grinder or whatever. So my regulator is putting out as much as the pressure gauge, as in it's given everything that's got in the tank, so I need to get the pressure right up. So that's the tricky bit. Not so much tricky as terrifying. Okay, final test. Let's see if the pressure sensor works and switches it off at 155 psi. I'll be standing over there. Almost there. Should cut off at, well, there's two red lines. The lower line is presumably when it kicks in, and the higher red line is when it switches off. And I think I thought it was set to 150. Let's have a closer look. But obviously the pressure switch works. And it didn't blow up. And I'm still alive. Always a plus. Let's see where it cut off. That's about 135, which is okay. Don't know if the gauge is accurate, but maybe the pressure switch needs replaced, but I can live with that. I'm happy with that, it works. One last test before we can declare victory. Let's see if it works with actual power tools, or air power tools. I don't even know what they're called. Air tools. love that sound, right? So happy. And thus concludes my vintage compressor restoration series. Couldn't be happier. Thank you all for your help, your support, your advice. And a huge thank you to Andrew Turlow's Garage, who is my most recent Patreon membership. If anyone else wants to chip in, I would be more than delighted. It's quite expensive to build these tools and cars and all sorts. Oh, one last thing I need to add. For now, take care, and I'll see you in an actual car project coming soon. Bye-bye.